Welcome to the Extraction episode of the podcast Great Bad Movies, where co-hosts Joe Sky Tucker and Greg Swinehart, that's me, talk about amazing movies. And when I say amazing, there might be an asterisk there. There might be some things to talk about. To get started, if you like what you hear, like and subscribe us here on YouTube. You can also find us wherever you listen to podcasts. We've begun announcing what our next movie will be on Instagram. You can find us there at Great Bad Movies Show. And to contact us or find out more about the show, our website is greatbadmovies.com. All right, let's get to the show. Joe, in the movie we watched this week, we see a kid kill someone for the first time. What was it like the first time you killed somebody?
I threw up. That's pretty common.
You threw up?
Yeah. But I got over it. Second kill better, third kill. Now I'm just serial killer. Totally in.
That's amazing.
What about you?
You know what's weird is I felt nothing, and bizarrely, I haven't felt anything since either.
Oh, that seems normal.
So I'm starting to think I shouldn't have done it. All right, let's get to the show.
Let's do it.
This is an extraction.
So who are the players?
Biggest drug lord in India versus biggest drug lord in Bangladesh. Drug lord's son. Proof of life as of 6 hours ago.
You want to survive, you do exactly as I say. That kid is a walking corpse, and there's no way to protect him.
You have a family.
Yeah, son. He died a few years ago.
We can send a chopper and get you out. But you gotta leave the kid behind. Are you gonna leave me in the street?
I'll get you home.
In the year 2020, our guy, Sam Hargrave, first-time director but long-time stuntman, decided it was time to direct a movie written by the Russo brothers, who we
love. We love them.
love, except when they're making Marvel movies on your part.
Well, they did make my favorite one, which is The Winter Soldier. So that is a great.
Okay.
I'll give them that
so
one.
Peaks and valleys
Yes.
when it comes to their movies.
Yeah.
Okay. They made a movie with Chris Hemsworth, and it is called Extraction. I think we should just dive right into it. Joe Sky Tucker, have you seen this movie before?
I have seen this movie before. This was the second time I've seen it.
Okay. Why is Extraction a great bad movie?
This movie is a great movie. I struggle to even find something bad about it other than the typical action movie tropes of like the ridiculous 1 against a million action scene. But this movie, I liked it the first time I saw it. And I saw Extraction 2 pretty recently. And then I watched this one again. And this movie exceeded all of my expectations. It feels like this new breed. So we have the John Wick. We have David Leitch, who was on John Wick, and then Bullet Train and those movies, and Atomic Blonde. And then we have Sam Hargrave. So these stuntmen directors who are throwing the kitchen sink into these action movies. So it is spectacular to watch them. The action sequences in this movie, I was struck by the intricacies, how long they were. There's a scene like from when he basically rescues the kid to when
he's extracting the kid?
Yeah, when he's extracting the kid.
Okay.
To the point where they have the single camera shot action sequence in the apartment complex that ends with him getting hit by a car and then the other guy getting hit by a truck.
Right.
That is spectacular. And it's probably a 20-25 minute scene start to finish.
It's 11 and a half minutes.
That scene,
it's 11 and a half.
From the extraction to that scene, like.
Oh, the continuous shot is 11 and a half
minutes.
Yeah,
the continuous shot is 11 and a half minutes, but there's a scene like leading into that.
Yeah.
Is ridiculous. And it's done. So it's not CGI, it's not green screen. It's a car chase. It's so good. So this is a great movie. It's a great action movie. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And every scene, I just like could not believe it. And that single shot action sequence, I had forgotten about it. There was a big talk about it in the second movie because it's even more extreme in that. But even in this one, it's so good because I kept watching, waiting for it to cut. Like, how long are they going to go with this? And it never stopped.
Yeah.
So I struggle to find anything bad about this movie. I may be like the one that's in the tank. Like, I mean, the one comment I would make is like, where I love the Gray Man is the sense of humor that kind of flows through it. So it's funny at points. They're dead serious in this movie. There are no laughs really. So that could be maybe something I could point to say if I wish they had that, but it's not true to the movie for me. It's like, so I'm in on this movie. What about you, Greg Swinehart? Why is this a great bad movie? Talk me off the ledge. I'm like, there's nothing bad about it. It's perfect.
Okay, so am I hearing you say that you think this is a great movie?
This is a great action movie.
It's not a great bad movie.
It's not a great bad movie. I can't go there. I enjoyed it too much. I was too in on the whole thing. There are ridiculous parts about it that I just was in on. Like, it's a great movie to me.
Now, for people who haven't listened to the show before, sometimes we stumble upon a movie that's too good for our show. And then we take a hard left turn into an episode of Great Movies, our side podcast. Yeah. I can't go along with you on this one, but I also don't have a great reason why. I think if there's like digital blood splatter and scenes seem like video games, then it can't be a great movie. And that might just be naive on my part, but I feel like this is a really, really great bad movie.
Okay.
But I might talk myself out of this by the end of this opening chunk even. We have a good friend that we lived with, Cam Nicholas. And I was talking to him, I don't know, last year or the year before. And he mentioned this movie. And I said, oh, I haven't seen that movie. And he like did a double take and looked at me and said, what? Of anybody I know that probably would have seen that movie and loved it, it's you. You have to watch this movie. It's one of your movies. And I think he was saying it's a great bad movie.
I mean, I could be talked into it's a great bad movie, but the quality of action in this movie is so top notch to me.
It is. That's true.
And so that was the piece that always gets me. And it's not doing anything new. Like, I didn't see anything that I hadn't seen before. But what I saw was the breadth and depth of the action sequences were so spectacular. Literally from the extraction scene to the end of the single cam, it's like 25 minutes of basically wall-to-wall action.
It is. That's true.
And pretty brutal fight scenes. Just, it goes on, and you kind of wait for it to take a breath, and it doesn't give you a moment to really catch your breath until about halfway through the movie. And so I love that. I love these directors, and I do feel like they're like, these are all the stunts that we wish we could have done.
Sure.
They're just going for it. And so I just like, it's a tip of the cap to me of directors who've always wanted to do crazy things. Like, let's do a 12-minute single camera shot action sequence through, and you're going through people's houses, and the main character changes, and then they kind of catches up, and it's so beautiful. So
totally. There's a chance that every movie should be directed by a stunt coordinator.
I agree.
Even if it's a tearjerker drama. Okay, so I love this movie. And you're right. The action is just incredible. And you know what? The characters aren't too shallow for the most part. And they're also not too deep. It's not too melodramatic. There is a really nice amount of story and emotion and character that happens throughout the movie. I feel like it's a big lift for Chris Hemsworth, and he does a really good job, both in the action and in the moments when he gets to look off into the middle of distance and be sad.
Yep.
Which he has a borderline Tom Cruise, like stare to cry ratio. Which is just a beautiful thing.
Spoiler alert, one of my drinking games is shots of loneliness, and it's him like
Yep. Yeah. I think a perfect line in any great bad movie is when there's like a greatest person on the planet who could handle a certain situation. And in this case, it's the extraction of the kid. And someone in the movie says, there's a man who does this sort of thing. I was like, well, it's one of my movies. Here we go. I love it. Am I wrong that Amir Asaf is the most Muslim name that a screenwriter could come up with?
Probably.
It's as if, like, if the bad guy was a Christian, his name would be like Tristan Stevens, and he'd be a youth pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going through a bit of a phase of stunt coordinators directing movies. And so far, the batting average is pretty high.
Mhm.
Do you think this movie is the only movie better than this in its lane is John Wick, right? Would you say Atomic Blonde is better than this movie?
Ooh,
Maybe.
maybe. I
Yeah.
think as a movie, Atomic
Yeah.
Blonde is better. I think David Leitch, his movies are a little, I don't know how to put it, but like he's got a different point of view in how he's directing his films. Still great fight scenes, a little bit more character driven.
Yeah.
I feel like John Wick and this one I was thinking about today almost feels like a sequel of how action packed it is. You know, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of first movies, even John Wick, the first movie compared to the second and third and fourth, the action is definitely different, but they're telling a story in the first one where the second one is just let's go crazy.
Right.
And
This is a Lethal Weapon 2, not a Lethal Weapon 1.
yeah, and so I almost feel like we're at like a sequel level of
Mm,
action. And we see that in the second one as well. They
sure.
up it there.
But it sounds like it's primed for a prequel. Is that what you're saying?
No, I would never say that. How dare you?
Yeah, I agree. And great director, great actor. But I think, we got to give a hand to the Russo brothers on
Mhm.
the script here. I want to say in the closing credits, did it just say Joe
I
Russo wrote
think
it?
so.
Yeah, there's more. And Anthony Russo was also listed on IMDb as well as another guy. But this was based on a graphic novel that they wrote,
Hmm.
which I've heard is a way that people get movies made or scripts purchased. First, they make a graphic novel and then they base their screenplay on that graphic novel.
Ah,
And studios can kind of read the graphic novel as if it's,
right.
they're watching a movie
Mhm.
and then they'll make it. That convinces them to make it.
Interesting. Wow, I'm
Yeah.
in on that. I mean, I would say the signs that point towards it being a great bad movie are, the setup is pretty ridiculous. It's like it
Yep.
opens and then you go 2 days before, so the timeline is super compressed.
Yep. Sure.
So how does he get ready? How does he go from where he is to Mumbai? So those are like the leaps that you have to make. He
Sure.
is the only person is like the only one that makes nitro, adds nitro to there.
It's got Fast and
Yeah.
Furious 4 all over it.
Just the sheer ridiculousness of the fight scenes and the amount of damage that he takes in one scene, and then in the next scene, he's basically fine.
He's good. He's good. His feelings are
Yeah.
hurt, maybe,
Yeah.
but otherwise we're good to
Yeah.
go.
John Wick
Yeah.
does the same thing where, it's like he gets absolutely obliterated. Then he like takes a shower and then now he's magically fine.
That is exact. Oh, and there might be like a drink of hard alcohol.
Mhm. Yeah.
That happens in both of these movies too.
Yeah.
You know,
Gray Man
Just
does
the
it.
man.
It was like, oh, they missed a major artery or and like they didn't hit I can't remember what they say. It's like they missed my spleen or something like that. And he staples himself, takes a drink, and he's fine for the rest of the movie.
Amazing.
So,
Amazing.
you know,
Yeah, totally.
those are awesome moments. But for the rest of it, it's really just how much action can we pack into this movie?
Yeah.
And let's go from there. We have kind of the bad guy, semi bad guy who sets this up. Then they become allies. So that's another trope of a great bad movie, which I'm totally here for.
Totally.
Shades of every Fast and the Furious movie where the bad guy suddenly becomes family now.
Shades of that Sting song, Do the Russians Love Their Children Too?
Yeah.
That's what I got out of this movie. The bad guy, like, oh, why is he calling home? Why are we meeting his wife?
Yeah.
Oh no. Why are we seeing him talk to his son? Oh, we're supposed to like this guy now. Okay.
Yeah. We got to make his death hurt a little bit. So,
Spoilers.
yeah.
Jeez.
Sorry.
This movie starts with a kidnapping. It's a bad guy cop randomly kills a tertiary character in the movie just out of nowhere. That's a sign of a corrupt system or whatever. That's a sign of a great bad movie.
Yep, that's a sign of a great bad movie, and it sets the stakes right there.
Sure.
Where they
Yeah.
usually don't kill kids.
No, that's true. That's
And-
true. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, that's not the only child that is killed in this movie.
I guess we'll have to just say spoilers for Extraction. I mean, it's not like we've ever done that before, but we do spoil every movie we talk
Yeah.
about.
If you're listening along and you haven't watched this movie, what's wrong with you and how dare you?
Yeah. I think you need to take a hard look in the
Yeah,
mirror
seriously.
and make that change.
Mhm.
All right, so we meet Chris Hemsworth. We don't need to go through like the whole movie, but it's interesting how we meet Chris Hemsworth. He wakes up, takes a drink of a beer that's obviously just water in a bottle.
Mhm.
It's so obviously not really beer. And then he just jumps down, what do you think? 200 feet into some water?
Yeah, maybe 100, 200 feet down. He just drops into the water. So he
Right.
just doesn't care. That's what we're supposed to get
Yeah.
from it.
And then he just sits pensively underwater,
Mhm.
which is maybe a trope of a great bad
Yeah.
movie.
You might be talking me and I'm coming off the ledge of great, great movie.
That's how we meet the character. Sip of beer, drops an impossibly long distance down into water, and then just sits under the water, pensively thinking.
Mhm.
How yellow is the filter on this movie when we go to DACA? Am I pronouncing that right?
It's pretty, I mean, it's noticeable. It's not as bad as like Tony Scott, but
Yeah.
it's not
Okay.
Man on Fire, Tony Scott bad.
Right. Is it Domino, Tony Scott?
Maybe. On a scale of Tony
Um,
Scott, it's Domino, not.
yeah. I want to say that there was no yellow for any film for 6 months after this because they used all the yellow.
Mhm.
We were out of yellow for a while. Sign of a great bad movie. Chris Hemsworth takes the kid and doesn't assure him at all. He's very emotionally distant and just like throws him in a trunk.
Mhm.
Never once says, I'm here to rescue you. He just says, eat this because you have low blood sugar. Here's some water.
Yeah.
And then we have the longest single shot in history
Mhm.
as he rescues the kid.
Yeah. Does the second one is longer, I'm assuming.
It must be. It has to
Yeah,
be.
it
When
has to
there's
be.
like trains.
Yeah, a car chase.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll get to the second
Yeah,
one.
which is the second one is spectacular in the ambition that it has and the way it
Uh-huh.
delivers on it to me. I think I still prefer the one in the first one because it was unexpected and
Sure.
it
Yeah.
feels like tighter and closer and like everything is claustrophobic about it.
Hmm.
And I know how much choreography goes into it. So on both of those scenes, and one has a prison riot, and
Right. In the second movie. Yep.
so both
Yep.
of them are spectacular. The first one is just it's so good. It's one of those scenes where I could just watch that. I've done that with like Children of Men at the end of that one. They have
Mm.
a single shot,
Hmm.
which is just a
Sure.
beautiful, just
Yeah.
really hard scene to watch, but it's so beautifully shot. This
Yep.
one is that one is action-ish. I would say there's action in it, but not the same way. This
Hmm.
is like, let's do a single shot action scene like you've never seen before.
This one is stitched together from 36 different sequences to
Crazy.
make one shot. Yeah. I read online somewhere some of those sequences took 25 takes in order to line them up correctly.
That's pretty
So they were
amazing.
working on this for a while. Yeah. The budget on this was $65 million.
It's not as much as I would have thought.
It looks like a $250 million movie. A great bad movie has someone who runs out of bullets and then punches the person with the gun.
That happens quite a bit.
Can that be a great, great movie? That can be,
That could be a great, great movie.
but in a great, great movie, they don't look as pensively underwater.
Yeah.
I think when you compare pensive underwater shot with punching someone with a gun out of bullets, does a great bad movie have a broken nose being reset?
I think that's a great, great movie. That scene is painful. It's hard to watch.
Yep. There are consequences to these
Yeah.
scenes. Okay.
Yeah.
To the fight scenes.
That's about the only consequence, really. I mean, that guy is literally hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Just like fixes his nose and he's good to go in the next scene. So
Tearfully call his son, and then he's ready to go with like rocket launchers or something.
yeah,
I don't. There is a moment where a bunch of kids attack Chris Hemsworth, and he calls them the Goonies from hell.
yeah, that was awesome.
Pretty solid. Yeah, yeah. David Harbour shows up as a guy who Chris Hemsworth had saved his life, and then he got out of the game. And I don't know. I usually say this about Stanley Tucci, but I'm going to say it about David Harbour. I just would like David Harbour to show up in every movie that I watch from now on.
Agreed.
If he's available, we write a character for him to kind of like drop in and have a drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Potentially get in a living room brawl.
Yeah, I'm in. The crazy thing about that scene, and there are two moments in this movie where it could have been a very different movie. So he gets the kid out and then they're trying to get to a boat. That's kind of and they're going to escape that way. But
Because all the bridges that leave the city are
yeah.
blocked.
So then the leader in his ear, the woman, Nick, says, just leave the kid and go. And there's a moment like, yes, 100%. You should just leave the kid and go.
Yeah.
But he won't do it. We get the backstory that he lost his son to cancer and wasn't there. And so I've
Great
added
scene.
another trope. So we have revenge as the driver of the protagonist as a trope, but This is
Sure.
redemption as the driver of the protagonist. So his character can't leave the kid because he would be leaving his son. That's the parallel that they're
Right.
trying to do. And then we have the scene
Yeah.
with David Harbour where David Harbour's basically said, just go kill the kid. He's dead anyway. And you're sparing him. And as a part of me is like, yeah,
Yeah. If David Harbour says
Yeah.
it's got to be good advice.
you know,
He let our hero take a shower, which he knows a hard reset.
yep. So,
Cured all of his ills.
yep. But yeah, those are two moments where I was like, maybe the movie just ends right there. And
Yeah,
world,
just right there.
everyone hates it and then walk out.
I do love that the flashbacks to his family on the beach are just entirely out of focus.
Yep.
That was kind of a nice touch.
Mhm.
Really good performances in this movie.
Yeah. Surprising.
Is there a bad performance in this movie? They're really good.
Yeah. I think everybody delivers in their part.
Yeah.
Even
yeah.
the kids.
Yeah.
You hate the bad guy, the main bad guy. He's just despicable.
Yep.
It's really good. I think that's what drove it for me to be a great movie in my mind is there aren't those moments where it's someone who's just totally is in the wrong movie or doesn't know what they're doing. It's really well done.
Yeah.
They're all in.
Yeah.
It is crazy and ridiculous, but everyone just kind of buys into it. So great performances. And I was expecting kind of when it opens, kind of the Chris Hemsworth character from Thor Ragnarok, kind of comedy, wisecracking hero kind of person.
Yeah.
He is not that character at all.
Not that guy. The second movie has a lot more humor in it. That was probably their one note.
Yeah.
Like little humorless guys.
Yeah. Let's lighten the mood here in moments.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably one of the best Netflix movies I've ever seen.
I would agree with that.
And people like the second movie more than the first. Critics like it. Audience likes it better. What do you think the critic score on this movie is, Joe?
I would say like a 50%.
It's 67%
Really?
critic score. Yeah. Which feels about 3% low to me.
That's true. What's the audience score, though? Audience score's got to be 70% on this.
71.
See? This is our movie.
This is our movie. Yeah. And there's been a shakeup at Netflix. The guy who was in charge of movies has left, and they're going to make less than half the amount of movies that they used to. But they are making an Extraction 3.
I mean, the end of Extraction 2, they set up.
Yeah.
There's got to be an Extraction 3 after that.
And in my opinion, I can't think of a better Netflix movie than this one. I suppose there's like Roma, the Oscar movies.
Yeah, but that's not what we're going to next. Not what you and I are going to Netflix for.
No, that's not this podcast.
I want to see the longest single shot action sequence possible.
Yeah. And I don't think that happened in the new Bradley Cooper movie. No. What's that movie called? Maestro.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen in Maestro.
No. Are they going to show a symphony in one shot? Boo.
Maybe it does happen in Maestro. I don't want to judge Maestro before I watch it.
Sam Hargrave directs Maestro.
Oh, wouldn't that be great? This is a great movie. The only movie that I can think of that's better than this, though, is like John Wick or in this genre of like stunt coordinator, stuntman directed movies. It's John Wick. It's Atomic Blonde. I mean, it's like.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of, Bullet Train.
Sure. I think this is better than Bullet Train. Those are 5 words.
That is. I'm trying to like as a movie, Bullet Train it's got like the crazy characters. So it leans more into.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's funny. It's got interesting characters. It's an action movie, but the action is different. This is like, how much can we pack into this of action? So
Bullet Train is a David Leitch movie that doesn't have Hobbs or Shaw, which in my mind just wouldn't work, but somehow it works pretty well.
I think maybe David Leitch is a little bit more mainstream than this movie is.
Yeah. We'll get to every David Leitch movie.
Oh, yeah.
I think we can safely say that.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Yeah, John Wick, I think is better because of the world they build around it. But even that has some of the great bad movie tropes that we love.
This is a more emotional movie than that one.
Yeah.
That one does a really good job with John Wick's wife and dog. And then there's humor about how he's the greatest there ever was. Like they sell the good guy in that movie quite a bit. Yeah. This movie does, I don't know. These all feel like realer people than you get in John Wick.
I mean, that would be a great versisode of these 3 directors, their best movies. We are the winners because we get to watch these movies, basically.
Joe, I just realized we've been talking about this movie, assuming that people know what it is. If people haven't seen this movie, maybe we should let them know what it's about. Let's give them the back of the box.
All right, here's the back of the box here. Olden days in Blockbuster Video, looking for a video. You pick it up and you read this.
It's the back of the box.
Tortured by the death of his son, Tyler Rake, Chris Hemsworth is a mercenary for hire that specializes in the jobs that no one else can take. His latest job has him rescuing the son of a gangster stolen from the streets of Mumbai by another gangster. With seemingly the whole town looking for them, can he extract the hostage or become another victim in a senseless world? Bodies and bullets fly in this electric action movie. That's the back of the box.
Way to get the title in there.
Thank you. Nailed it.
All right, so that's the real back of the box. What's the honest back of the box here?
Honest back of the box is short and sweet. This movie kicks ass. Watch it. You will not be disappointed.
Watch it twice at half speed.
Yeah, exactly. This movie is so good. It's so much fun. If you love action movies and you don't love this movie, I think there's something wrong with you.
There's something wrong. We question your judgment.
Yeah. Every choice you probably made in your life.
Yeah. We don't want to dehumanize you, but we do question what kind of life you're living.
Yeah. Probably a gray, boring, colorless, awful existence, quite frankly.
Yes. Okay, let's get to drinking games.
All right. Took me a while to find some. So our kind of stock drinking games, no silent helicopter. There are helicopters.
Yep.
No silent helicopters.
Yes.
Do we have a push in and enhance? I didn't notice one.
No.
In this one.
No.
We do have some moments where people do share some looks in the middle of chaos. So like Chris Hemsworth right at the end gets shot and then he sees Nick, his partner. So there's some beautiful moments like that throughout. Yep. And even some silent, like explosion, silent ringing in the ear. That might be the second one. I'm getting them confused because I've watched them on back-to-back nights now.
I don't know if there's ringing in the ears, but it definitely does kind of get a little bit quieter in this one.
We have opening scene. The title locks in with a sound. It does not lock in with a sound, but what happens, I noticed, is it goes dead quiet. So you have a score that's rising, and then extraction is dead quiet. So I feel like that gets in there. You can do that one.
It's the notes they didn't play.
Yeah, exactly. It's the negative space. Only great movies.
Yeah,
lean into negative space. So. Does it flash back to dialogue 2 minutes ago? It does flash back. There are some flashbacks in this to like his son on the beach and that sort of thing. So,
right, which probably was 2 minutes ago. It happened just immediately before each scene in this movie.
Yeah.
It's back to the beach.
I would let you, if you wanted to have some crazy CGI, because there are some CGI moments, but it's pretty straight. But if you're just thirsty, take a drink.
I think we're done with this is 10 years after they really kind of indulged in the CGI close calls.
Mm-hmm. Great bad shots. Oh my God.
Yes.
Every freaking gunfight.
Not only does he outrun a gun that's just swinging from right to left as he's running, but he jumps out of a back window of a car to avoid it somehow.
Yeah. So I didn't notice if the streets were inextricably wet during the fight scene with the kids, but it could have been. That would have been the time they would have been.
Right.
Give us the room. There wasn't that. Kill the henchman, but the bad guy lives. Color filters. Is that the one?
That's the one.
Yeah. That one you're drinking a lot.
The streets aren't wet, but the screen is yellow.
Yes. You're in a foreign country in this movie. So those are our stock ones. All right. What's a drinking game that you have that you noticed?
Okay. Anytime a sad kid plays piano and it becomes the soundtrack to a montage.
Maybe the winner. I already said this one, but shots of loneliness. So Chris Hemsworth, the kid, they're like kind of opens with them a lot, looking wistfully or being alone in scenes. So
that's good. There's a lot more of that than the one that I have. Anytime someone is pensive underwater.
There's a line too, which you should probably drink, where it's like not being underwater is a problem. It's not coming up for air or something like that the kid tells him. Okay, it was a very that would push it towards great bad movie, where the kid says some very philosophical line after being kidnapped and all of that. So
Right. No, but that's like a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old in a Great Bad Movie.
Yeah. Anytime someone has a hood put on them when they're being either kidnapped or transported to a new location. So,
That is a perfect drinking game for this movie.
yeah.
I think that's the winner. I have anytime someone shoots a gun that goes thwonk. You know what I'm talking about? It's like it's some kind of like rocket grenade shooter, but it kind of looks like a big.
Yeah.
I think actually people call it a pirate gun because it looks like a pirate gun, but it's like some sort of. But it makes that sound, the thwonk.
Yep. There's a lot of those.
Yeah, it's like the Terminator 2 gun. I want to say he used that in Terminator 2.
Yep. I have anytime there's a fight with children or a child is killed or thrown off a building.
Yep. Is that meant to be funny? Bad guy throws kid off a roof. I feel like that's played as a laugh.
It kind of was because it's like so shocking that it happens, but I kind of got that too. So,
okay, I have anytime a rocket launcher is used.
oh, that's a good one. Oh, you're drunk if you're drinking anything that's not water.
What's your count on that rocket launcher? It's like the surface to air missile thing. What do you think that is?
There are at least 3 different times that I can remember.
Okay.
In that one.
Yeah.
And in the second one, we'll have to see how many of these carry over from one movie to the other. That can be a drinking game in and of itself. But yeah, there are a lot of rocket launchers in both of them. I have every time they say extraction.
Oh, that's great. Oh, my next one is anytime they say a version of the word extraction.
Air high five.
Air high five. Yeah, amazing.
I talked about this one, but every time he is magically healed from the previous scene.
Yeah.
So,
wow. I don't know. How do you even quantify that?
Yeah.
I have anytime you see a chopper.
Oh, that's
this
a good
movie is really good in that sometimes they're driving down the road and they look up and the camera pans up and there's just a helicopter right there.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think there's always a helicopter right there whenever a scene is happening in a movie that I'm watching. And so I appreciated this movie by just pointing the camera up to show us that a helicopter was up there.
Yeah. I have every time he's in new full battle gear in the next scene. They would be like, he's ready to fight. Then he's like taking it off. He's not. And then the next scene, he's like full battle gear again. Where did it come from? We don't know. It doesn't matter.
Nope. Yeah.
Don't ask that question.
That's hilarious. I have anytime someone is hit by a vehicle. This is the greatest movie of all time.
It is. It probably is. I have every time an avalanche of bullets pummels a room, but he ducks behind something to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just a million bullets and like the biggest machine guns possible. And like, but the island in the kitchen is saving his life.
We're good to go. The John Boo is just right there.
Yeah.
I have anytime Chris Hemsworth tears up.
Ooh, that's a good one. He's got a good, like, steely eyes water moments. Like he's good at that.
He's Tom Cruising. I
have every time he shoots someone while also in hand-to-hand combat with someone else.
Yeah.
Because he'll be like fighting someone, then he'll shoot someone over here and then spin around and shoot this person and then kill the person he's fighting with and then get the person behind him. And it happens so much. It's so awesome.
It's great. And I especially love in these movies where it's probably like the same 8 stunt people in every scene.
Yeah.
And they all just are completely covering their faces in one way or another. So we can't tell that it's the same people that were in the last fight scene.
Yeah. Those are the next great 8 directors out there.
Yes.
I had one more, which is every time you see a room filled with computers, especially in the beginning of this movie, there are lots of shots of their team when they're trying to get the money and the extraction is.
Sure. That's all.
That one, just drinking in the beginning of the movie. So
I do love when they have like the poor resolution kind of just outline of boats that are like on a map. Like, hey, we've got two boats are incoming. And that's the way that we show that some boats are coming in. Like there must be other things that their software must think is a boat as well. Or like a person is walking towards our guy and they just like, they know who that person is and that they're a bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not like a lion. It's definitely a person, I don't know. I just think that's always funny.
Yeah, they do that a lot in that scene when they're going to the boat. Like you have the map and you can see the people and it's like, oh, he's incoming right to your location. How do they know? Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like the GPS in Fast and Furious 4 that it's kind of showing us the scene because they couldn't afford to actually film it.
Exactly. I have some tropes here as well.
Yeah. Let's get to Joe's trope lightning round.
Yeah. So I added this trope, redemption, as the driver of the hero. So
Yep.
he's driven by saving his son.
Okay.
He's the best at something. So he's the one that you call when this is
Yeah.
when no one else
Hmm.
can do it.
Hmm.
He's kind of a reluctant hero as well.
Is he reluctant, or is he Martin Riggs from Lethal Weapon, where he just kind of like they kind of say you're just waiting for the next bullet to hit you or something like that?
Yeah, it's one of those two, and I
Yeah.
would be fine with these. He's like the hero on a suicide mission type of
Yeah.
hero.
Yeah. Hero with nothing to live for.
Oh, I like that. I'm adding that. Hero with nothing to live for. The last one that I have, and this movie does it a lot, is who is allowed to inflict damage on the hero? Like
Hmm.
what caliber of character? So there are lots of faceless policemen and bad guys that he
Sure.
kills and beats up. But who inflicts damage on him? Who can shoot him and kill him?
Hmm.
Or he dies technically in the first one, but he's resurrected in the second one. So again, spoiler alert for anybody. But the people that can, so there's the person that is the special forces person he's fighting, and then they end up teaming up with.
Hmm.
He inflicts pain, so he hits him with a car. He stabs him, I think, and hurts his shoulder.
Hmm.
He gets punched a lot by faceless bad guys, but doesn't get real damage except for people of a certain status, almost like a video game, like boss level
Yeah.
type of things. Who can shoot him? It's the kid who kind of works his way up in the gang
Yep.
can shoot
Yep.
him.
Mhm.
The general of the bad guy can shoot him and can
Yep.
kill so
Sure.
the hierarchy of who can inflict damage on the good guy is very evident in this movie.
The higher on the cast chart, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I just thought of a drinking game that I forgot to write down, and it is anytime there's noticeably digital blood splatter,
Mm,
which makes you kind of go, "That's gross," and also, what am I doing with my life watching a movie that has digital blood splatter?
yeah. All right. I'm adding that to tropes.
Yeah.
And what was the one that you said? You said it really good for the hero with nothing to live for. Is that what it
Yeah.
was?
Yeah.
Who then, through surviving the movie, finds something to live for.
Oh, interesting. Wow. Let me give you one little bit of trivia that I thought was interesting. According to the director, the nationwide ban on firearms on location in India was so strict that the production had to import rubber prop guns without any moving parts. For the first major action rescue sequence, for example, these dummy weapons were used exclusively without any blank rounds being discharged. The entire sequence had to be digitally animated in post to give the impression that shots were being fired.
Is that the one where he's in the room with the kid, like the first extract? Because there aren't a lot of gunfire in that scene, from what I remember too.
Yeah, I guess that would be, yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
I like that though,
Mhm.
that a gun can just be entirely fake. And I always worry about people on
Yeah.
set when I watch these movies.
Mhm.
I'll just assume they're all rubber. All right, Joe, should we get to some important questions?
Yes, let's do it.
Did this movie hold up then in 2020?
100% held up then.
Yeah, I might go 110.
Yeah, 110. Yeah.
Yeah. Does it hold up now?
Yeah, even better.
120.
Yeah, 120. These kinds of movies, like John Wick movies and the Bullet Train and those and this one,
Yeah.
I appreciate them more on on second and third watching, because
Hmm.
I notice more of the intricacies of the action sequences. Like the
Yeah.
first time through, I'm just it's like overwhelming. And now that I know, like, I am looking forward to liking this movie even more the third time I watch it, and then rewind the single shot. So I 100% feel like this movie holds up and keeps getting better because they are so chaotically brilliant in their action.
Yeah. There are so many talented people that they can tap into to make these movies. I wonder if it'll stop holding up at some point. We're going to need to watch Extraction again in a couple years and see if
Yeah.
it still holds up.
Yep.
Probably all the movies we do, we're going to have to start rewatching to see if they hold up to answer this question. Okay. Do they sell the good guy?
They a little bit, but
A little
I
bit.
feel like it's one of those movies that they show you him, like, how good he is in the first action sequences, but they
Yeah.
don't really sell him
Yeah.
the way they do in, like, John Wick, where they have a whole scene where he is who we send to
Right.
kill Baba
Yeah.
Yaga.
They kind of do show, don't tell,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons this movie's great. Do they sell the bad guy?
100% throwing children off of roofs and
Yeah.
cutting fingers off.
Yeah.
That is for sure a great bad movie trope.
And they do talk about fearing the bad guy, Like they do sell the bad guy a little bit in dialogue when the guy's talking to his wife. Like, I have to go do this. I have to go get this kid back.
Yeah, and there's a scene when they have like the bad guy where they like put his face up and his stats and like he's like so and so, but if so and so were even worse, type of.
Sure. Yeah.
So
So it's a great movie because they don't really sell the good guy. It's a bad movie because they sell the bad guy. And
yeah,
that's the sandwich that makes the great bad movie. Okay.
exactly.
Does it deserve a sequel?
So many sequels.
Yeah.
There's so many people to extract.
An unlimited amount of extractions should
Yeah.
occur in the next 35 years.
Yep.
Does it deserve a prequel?
No, I'm sorry, it doesn't. I would watch it grudgingly and probably enjoy it. I'm not going to lie.
I'm a hard yes. I think it needs 3 prequels. I think that we should call them episodes 1, 2, and 3. And it's where we slowly find out how David Harbour goes from being a sweet little kid to becoming Darth Vader.
Okay.
What do you think?
Okay. Only if we can get George Lucas.
Yes, obviously. Who will keep working on it. He'll just keep working on it. Yeah, it's perfect. Joe, why is there romance in this movie?
There isn't. It's beautiful.
We've got some good news for you, everybody.
Yeah. There's none to be had.
Joe, are we bad people for loving this movie?
No, this is a great, great movie. I'm still on that island. We're great people.
Okay. What album is this?
This one I took a long time to figure out, but I landed on an album from our youth. This is Bush 16 Stone.
Wow. Why?
I feel like in a lot of ways it was derivative of other albums that came out, but it's still a really good album.
Okay.
And so that's kind of where I came from. Like, this isn't John Wick kind of changing the face of action and being a moment in time with that.
Sure.
But it's doing some really good stuff. And so while Bush kind of gets a bad rap in a lot of ways, that album is a really good album. And there's some really great songs on there.
Yep.
And yes, it is kind of shades of Nirvana and Pearl Jam for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They're still really good. So what album is it for you?
Okay, so I thought of it through like, we know and like Chris Hemsworth before this movie comes out. We like him, especially in an ensemble like the Marvel movies. He's a really good addition, maybe one of my favorite people in that ensemble eventually by the time Infinity War. Yeah, he's super funny. Anyways, we know that we like Chris Hemsworth, but we've mostly seen him in a group in the past. And now he's kind of off. He's made a few movies on his own and they're punching above their weight. They're surprisingly better than I would have thought. And so I think this movie is a Harry Styles album.
Oh, all right. I'm in.
He's out on his own and surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm.
Like his second album was one of my favorite albums of the year a couple years ago, whenever that came out. So yeah, this is the second Harry Styles album.
And that's one that has As It Was on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I get it 100%.
How could this movie be fixed? AK, who should be in the remake?
I don't feel like it should be fixed. I don't think it needs a remake at all. Run it back. Oh, we did Extraction 2. So I don't feel like it needs to be fixed. I would say they kind of do this in the second one, is adding a little bit of humor, a little bit more to it.
Yeah, sure.
They expand the cast a little bit, so you have a little bit more other people involved that are awesome. I still have like 30 minutes left of the second one, but that one, there's some just spectacular fight scenes again, or action sequences in that. Do what you want in a sequel, kind of up the ante a little bit with it. So I
am always up for messing around with something, giving it another try. And so I think every time they make an Extraction movie, it should then immediately be remade with the cast of Mamma Mia singing their way through it.
Okay, you won me over. Shot for shot, but with songs.
Shot for shot, yeah. But it'll sound a lot like ABBA.
Okay, I'm in.
All right, it's time for us to rate. We've already rated this movie.
Yeah.
Is this a great bad movie, good, okay, bad, or awful bad movie, Joe?
I can be talked into a great bad movie, but I still think this is a great, great movie. I like every time we talk about these movies, even when I walk in feeling a little down on them, we start talking about them. This movie is so much fun to watch. So I think it's at least a great bad movie, if not a great, great movie.
I'm with you. I called it a great bad movie, but I also put an exclamation point there. Yeah. So yeah, Extraction from 2020. Keep it coming, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Sam Hargrave, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually emailed him after the second one came out. I found his email online and he did not
awesome.
email me back.
That's weird.
No, but I
What
let
an
him know.
asshole.
Yeah, I sent him a note of congratulations. All right, Joe, we made it.
We did it. We had the conversation that needed to be had about Extraction.
And listen, this has been great, but I need to take a drink of beer and then jump off this hilariously large cliff into some water.
Oh, that's interesting. I gotta go anyway. I have to fight a gang of children. So,
Oh, that's great. Well, if you need a ride, I was thinking about just driving around and pretending I'm in a video game.
oh, interesting. That's nice. I have to go cut my finger off to prove that I'm tough enough to be in this gang. So,
You know what? That totally works for me because I need to take a minute and see if I can fix the focus problem on my memories.
damn it, that's the winner. That's weird. I need to go have a 10-minute single shot fight scene. So,
Oh, that makes sense. You know, while you're doing that, I wonder if I'll even be able to hear it because I'm going to be underwater, pensively staring into the middle distance.
that's good. That's good. I'll join you as I fall off of a bridge shortly.
I actually, oh geez, this place is about to close. I got to get to a place where I can get my thwonk gun fixed.
Okay, I'm gonna go try to sneak across a bridge that has about 1,000 soldiers on it. So,
That's perfect. I'm out.
yeah, I'm out too.